I in no way support or approve of the way that Frank tends to operate. My experience has been is that he is not a team player, which he claims that he is not a team player. His tactics are often solipsistic and self-absorbed. Therefore, without considering what the committee or the community might feel is the best tactics to take, he will march off and do what he thinks is right, but he is dedicated and he believes that he is right. Unfortunately, it isn't always in line with necessarily, as far as in my committee, what the majority wanted. Yes, it created a lot of adversarial relationships. It wasted a lot of time for me to have to mend relationships that ended up being tainted, and it was a lot of energy. It burnt a lot of people out. Yes, we lost committee members, but at the same time, I'm not sure that this is the way that I would handle it. The way my committee had handled it was that we tried to politically isolate. We allowed the expression of what he had to say, and each member was allowed to voice, as we're doing. And we voted, for instance, when he was trying to get rid of or say that one of our committee members was not in line, that was not how the rest of the committee felt, and we voted to keep that person on. So I'm not sure that this is a tactic at this point that I would approve, but I'm not going to say that I approve of Frank's behavior either. I think that it is detrimental. It could be seen as has been detrimental, but again, the committee stands, the Public Safety Committee has continued to do good work. We have continued to have the relationship that we have, and we were successful. And Frank did help in that. I mean, there were things that Frank did that were helpful. So it was sort of like someone said, when Frank is good, Frank can be good. You know, unfortunately, it's the fact that he's not a team player and he doesn't consider what the majority or what the majority votes and needs.
Back here, please.
Oh, sorry, Jim. We're in the back.
In the back. It's very hard for me to talk, Frank, because I consider you a friend. But it's regrettable that I have to agree with what's been said tonight. I've sat here for the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm not going to say anything bad about you, but what I want to do is offer you me as somebody to talk to, somebody who you can vent with if you'd like, a shoulder to lean on. I'd rather be a peacemaker, and that's what I want to tell you, Frank. I consider you a decent member of the island, but there are times when, as you have put yourself forth, you've opened yourself to this type of behavior, which unfortunately will cause you to have to face the realities of life. But again, if you need someone to talk to, I'm here for you.
My name is Kamine. I'm from RIRA, and I have to say that I find this kind of expulsion quite primitive, and I would rather approach this kind of situation a little bit differently. For example, that practically people from leave of absence, let's say 6 months, and then he comes back and we are observing as he changes his behavior and we see capable of any kind of change. But this is like in America, you have the death penalty, but in Europe we don't have it because we are a little bit more civilized. So I think that we don't have to take some drastic steps. We can, have a little softer approach.
So it's not even a year that I have been on this council, but I come from a communist regime country and my husband is German. I just want to say that in my opinion, this organization should focus on the actual topics and actions rather than on personality problems. This is a democratic, not a totalitarian get-together, and people can have different opinions. And that's why we take votes and the majority decides.
Yeah.
I can relate to what Mary feeling right now, because when Frank was president of RIRA, 2010 and 2011, and wrote the RIRA column in the Wire, he had personally attacked me twice in those years, even though, and it was on a piece of RIRA business, even though I was a member of his organization, and in fact I was a chair of one of his committees. You just don't do that. If he had a beef with me, you do it within the organization, not in the Wire. Anyway, I'm going to change here something. I would like to amend the bill of particulars to add clause 6. There are 5 clauses. I'd like to add clause 6, and I'll read it to make sure I'll pass it. There aren't too many copies, but so this would be, if the council has to vote on this on the amendment, because we're changing the motion. And it reads, this will be 6, charge number 6. Organize a public safety group independent of RIRA. This group is in competition with RIRA's Public Safety Committee. This group undermines the work and credibility of RIRA's Public Safety Committee. I'd like to comment. Got that? Frank or any of us can organize anything we want outside of RIRA. But you don't do it if it's a rival organization, rival to RIRA, as is it. The honorable thing to do is to resign from RIRA and then organize an opposition group, which he did, except he didn't resign from RIRA. I consider this perhaps one of the most serious charges we have against Frank.
I listened today. No. Wait, hold on a second. Is there a second?
Second.
Second? Okay. Well, any? Hold on a second.
Can we vote on that?
There will now be, there's now going to be a discussion about the amendment, and then we need to come back to this. So is there any discussion, anybody want to discuss the amendment? Okay. Joyce?
I think it's also relevant and should be included in here. I believe that Frank used information.
Can you send the mic back?
I think Frank used information and contacted members of the Public Safety Committee in order to publicize and have them join his committee. So I think that he inappropriately usurped, or played on the information from having been in the Public Safety Committee in order to create this new committee. So I'm wondering whether that wording can be included somehow in there, that he utilized the Public Safety Committee to create a rival committee.
Could be, but it's complicated. I think
Okay.
it's simple. I prefer to keep it simple.
Do you want to make this a friendly amendment and just be accepted by the group, the 7 people? Yes? Okay. It's a friendly amendment, so it's accepted.
Then we still have to vote.
Ellen,
Are we having a discussion about the amendment? Can we? We are. Okay.
no, we're discussing the
Yeah, I'd like to comment on Aaron. I think, Aaron, you have a right to offer an amendment if we're going to vote on it. For myself, speaking personally, I mean, we're in a free country. If we want to start organizations, we can. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think somebody should be penalized or punished for doing so. If a person is a public-spirited person that wants to start an organization having to do with any of range of things that are going on Roosevelt Island, perhaps the ecology, problem actually per se. That at least is my opinion.
Anybody else?
What I'd like to say is that there was an impression that the organization that he was involved with was a part of RIRA, and I think that once it was made clear, even though he was using the tools and the contact information that are part of our developmental process and goodwill. It's one thing to set up his own organization, but to give the impression that it is part of us is what was problematic. And I think that that's a piece of what was problematic in it, because it had to be clearly delineated that it was not a part of us, that it was still
Eva and then Frank.
I just want to say that my organization, the Roosevelt Island Residents Network, we organized events, and one of the events was an Easter egg hunt, and it was very similar to the Students' Committee egg hunt, and it was, some people even thought, were confused, and were maybe thinking the same thing, and I hope I will never be punished for being
Frank?
No, I didn't have a
But you didn't use RIRA in order to do it.
Okay,
I'd just like to say I'm speaking specifically to Emmett. To Ms. Shinozaki, your comment is representative of many of the others, and that is just vague assertions, okay? There's never any representation that this organization, that the Roosevelt Island Law Enforcement Committee was ever part of RIRA. It was clearly not part of RIRA, and that was the whole point of it. We made that very clear, and that was the reason why we said we're separating and having a different organization, is that it would be independent of RIRA. There's that, but you make that accusation and substantiate it. That's the problem, is you're not going to be able to. Okay, like many of the other things here, you're not going to be able to. Why don't you just let it sit there, okay, and sound like it's okay? The second thing that I would say is on this, I think Ms. Babash has made this point about having other organizations. There's nothing that prohibits that. It's never been a sense of any type of misconduct. We have RIC, Roosevelt Island Community Coalition, if I get that right. And they're a competing organization of RIRA in a lot of ways. That's the way the community sees them. I don't have any problem with that, per se, but we've done that in here. There have been other organizations that have competed, and competed in the sense that they've coexisted. It's not a problem. As for using the tools, simply I was giving you information. I was reporting back to you. I was reporting back to you on what was going on. I sent one email out to the group saying, we're forming, and that was it. Okay? I have not come and asked you to come back and ask you for more, and you told me you're not interested, so I'm not sending you any reports. So it's as simple as that. So the idea that this is somehow, as Mr. Hamburger says, the most serious offense, I think this is ridiculous. And I just think that this is, I can tell you're upset, but it's really directed at some other thing other than, these particular